Global Transformation Astrology, GTA, with William Stickevers.
The other issue is we're dealing with Pluto, right? Pluto has to do with plutocracy. I keep talking about this, but the basis of the World Economic Forum is based on global plutocracy, a dystopian totalitarian society where corporations and governments have total surveillance and control over individuals. People are reduced to property with no privacy or autonomy, a centralized and captured economy where prices are set based on intrusive access to individuals' finances and personal data rather than market forces or supply and demand, elimination of cash and decentralized cryptocurrencies. All financial transactions are controlled and monitored through a centralized system connected to the internet and devices like smartphones. Severe restrictions on owning private property like land or businesses. The elites control all means of production. The collapse of the current financial system leading to a new digital centralized system, a CBDC, that requires giving up privacy and civil liberties to participate in the economy. A growing police state that uses threats and force to coerce the population into submission to the new totalitarian system. So this is what the Democratic Party, yes, I have the astrology to back it. I know the symbolism. I'm not making this up. This is what they are up to. This is what they're doing. This is part of the Pluto return. The Pluto return is at 27 degrees of Capricorn. It's right on the Neptune. Neptune conjuncts it. Transiting Neptune is hitting off that Pluto in the U.S. chart, hitting off that Neptune Democratic chart. And you see that Pluto now transitioning to conjunct the South Node of the Democratic chart, the Moon, Uranus conjunction of the Democratic Party chart, right? That will be happening in successive time between now and 2032. They have got a plan. Also, transiting Uranus in 2026, during the time of the Saturn-Neptune conjunction on the world point, will be conjunct 0 degrees Gemini right on the Democratic Party sun. I am telling you right now, they are moving us in that direction. This is not about candidate Biden or, deep state Harris. It's not just one or two people. They'll just swap them out for Newsom or somebody else. They have got a plan. The other thing that Pluto to Neptune is doing, by the way, it's doing what? Woke psychopathology. Woke psychopathology. So Neptune has to do with certain beliefs that have religious undertones to them. So it suggests an ideological construct where wokeism or being woke resembles some form of an ideological or religious doctrine with its own form of original sin, taboos, myths. And this is very Neptunian. And when you add Pluto to the framework here, right, what we're looking at here is a form of personality disorder. So when you look at the psychological traits observed in woke activists, it's inspired by the DSM-5 cluster B personality disorder, with the 8 key traits identified as where these woke activists are attention seeking, they're very grandiose, they have a high degree of emotional dysregulation, excess of empathy, victimhood ideology, impaired reality testing, lack of empathy, and splitting. And these traits form the AGE-EVILS. So this is part of this collective neurotic cluster B personality disorder. And the traits are applied to the main realm of woke activity, namely race, climate, and transgender. So it appears what we're seeing here, using the astrological principle of transiting Pluto on the Democratic Party's Neptune, contributes to the rise of extreme movements and ideology. That's a general manifestation of that planetary combination. So within context of the Democratic Party, Pluto's transformative power and Neptune's connection to ideals can combine to amplify certain beliefs, sometimes to a point of radicalization. And so we can see this with emerging extremity, where in the context of social movements like Black Lives Matter, this could manifest as heightened activism, factions pursuing more extreme changes. Again, with Neptune being the core factor that governs spirituality and belief systems, translating Pluto can intensify this to the point of dogmatism, right? So this can contribute to fever, that approaches religious zeal. And we're going to see that more so as we get into 2024 election. So we're going to see extreme woke pathology be part of the core ideological platform for the party as we get into the 2024 election, regardless who the nominee is. So race, climate change, transgender, right? this will serve as a backdrop that will amplify the pre-existing tendencies, beliefs, and movements that are operative within society. And we have to also remember that a lot of these wokester activists, they're devoid of social responsibility. They ignore the broader social norms and negative consequences of their actions on others. And again, we're going to see more of these key traits really play out. So that's another prediction I'm making. Wokeism, woke pathology, or woke psychopathology on steroids. And while that woke psychopathology is on steroids, we're seeing a split in the Democratic Party. That's another thing too. The Democratic Party is having internecine warfare, if you will, silently, of course, but it will come out during the eclipse. No one's going to be able to hide anything anymore. So it's going to come out leading up to the eclipse, where we're going to find out there's two factions. They're fighting. One faction is pro-Biden, deep state, and another faction wants to go on a radically different course. It's not buying into the wokeism ideology. It's not going to want to adopt and be the national mouthpiece for the World Economic Forum policies and all that stuff. So you're going to see it split here. Look at this. Do you believe that two leading candidates for the Democratic presidential primary, President Biden and Robert Kennedy Jr., should engage in presidential primary debate process? 77.5% say yes. And and I know they cannot allow that to happen. And that will not happen. And that is why, right? Welcome to the Democrats' Pluto-Neptune nightmare. RFK Jr. goes third party. So if the reports I'm getting in are accurate, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is promising a major announcement in Philadelphia on October 9th, which he will declare himself an independent and pursue a third party run for the presidency. And if he does, it will be the Democrats' worst nightmare, because it's happening leading to an eclipse. It's happening leading to this eclipse that's going to activate all of this buried material in a Democratic Party chart. So the question I ask is, you have to wonder what took Bobby Kennedy so long to recognize that the Democratic Party was a home for him, right? What took him so long to realize that the Democratic Party is no longer the party of his father or his uncle? So this is going to be very, very interesting. In normal times, there would be every reason to predict that he stands a zero chance of winning. However, as we know, these are not normal times. So if he manages to get that line on the state ballots, you can easily imagine New York and California trying to foil him, for it will change all the current calculations about the 2024 election. So this is part of the split, right? There are people on the, hey, you know what? I'm a Democrat. I voted Democrat, but I'm not into this woke thing. I get it now. At first, I sort of went along, but now, right, I'm not for this global plutocracy. I'm not for CBDCs. I'm not anti-Bitcoin. I'm not necessarily pro-crypto, but I'm not anti, and I don't like what I hear coming out of a lot of people, especially a lot of the political pundits and experts, basically being mouthpieces or shills for the World Economic Forum, but yet calling that Democratic platform policy for the next or an upcoming election.
To watch the full presentation and more like this on geopolitics, the economy, and world events from an archetypal and mundane astrological perspective, join the Global Transformation Astrology membership. Go to gta.williamstickevers.com. Become a GTA member today.